Good morning. It's been a while, so figured I'd come on, not to talk about where the Giants are at, because right now the Giants is, it might be the worst team in football. Although when you look at the roster without looking at how the record looks, you wouldn't think that, because the Giants do have talent and they got some staple pieces. But I'm going to say this, and I've said it plenty of times before. I actually banged on this pot when the Giants hired Joe Judge. I was calling for Belichick. People are like, oh, he's old. I want a young future. No. When you're a shit show of this magnitude, you need a major guy with a monster resume proven to come in and turn this shit around. Build a football program. Something we haven't had here in about 11, 12 years, Obviously, since the day they pushed Coughlin out the door, the Giants have been one of the biggest disasters in football. Look, you've gotten to a point now where Daniel Jones will be benched, rightfully so. Giants are going to move on from him. You cannot afford to gamble the $23 million on next year's cap on a Jones injury. So off to the bench you go. Losses, I hate to say this, but it's gotten so bad over the years, and we're so bad right now that losses are wins. You want to lose every single game the rest of this year. Now, knowing the Giants, they'll win one somewhere. Probably come against a formidable opponent. I could see them sneaking a win out of Dallas on Thanksgiving, because Dallas is just almost as bad. But that doesn't even matter. Don't even want that win. Here's what I'm going to say. You can say whatever you want, and you can want who you want. And I know Vrabel is a top guy out there. I just don't see the connection with the Giants because he doesn't have one. But yeah, I'd love him. He's a younger Belichick to me, so you'd get him for long term. But you got to look at connections, and you got to know who Mara's going to call. We all know it. Say goodbye to Dable. Sorry, it didn't work out. I know you didn't get to choose your quarterback, and that's a little messed up. But that's what it is when you play or coach in New York, and the team has been horrible and getting worse. Say goodbye to Joe Schoen, because if I'm cleaning out Dable, I'm cleaning out Schoen. To me, it's a tag team. They gotta go. Whether the fans agree with it or not, it's proven that getting rid of Barkley and not paying him another extra $1.5 million has proven to be deadly, as he's balling out in Philly and he's a candidate for Offensive Player of the Year. You let McKinney go, and I was with that because you don't want to pay a safety $90 million. I like the kid Nubin. I think he's a young, good safety. But right now, McKinney, you can make a case, might be the best safety in the NFL. And he's a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. So you allowed 2 stars to walk out the building, your own guys that we drafted. And at the end of the day, that's good enough to get Joe Schoen fired. All right? You paid Jones, but I'm a believer that your boss made you do that, so I let you slide on that. A lot of fans won't, but I let that go because I think Mara pays you to do what he asks you to do. Now, I don't know if there's an agreement on the back end that he would allow you to draft your quarterback, but I think it's getting to the point where it's... Here's the bottom line. The New York Giants become an extremely attractive job. Imagine that. The New York Giants are probably the most attractive job right now. Why do I say that? Number one, you're the New York Football Giants. And even though it's been a long time and the stench has gotten real bad, there's still 4 shiny Lombardis in that glass. There's still a Flagstaff organization. And Mara's still a well-respected family in the NFL. You are the New York Football Giants, and you play in the biggest market on the planet. And the league wants the Giants to get back. And history shows you that the Giants will get back. But I'm noticing a lot of teams are going back to guys that had something to do with the organization. And I think the New York Football Giants have Bill Belichick sitting out there, and he desires the Giants job. He's always loved the Giants. You got Patriot players out there speaking about how Belichick always smiled and had a sparkle in his eye whenever they'd go back to the Meadowlands to play the Giants. He'd go visit the locker rooms. He'd go visit the trophies. His memories are fond, and it's a place sentimental that he'd like to finish. And he's still very close with the Mara family, brothers. And that's big. Because he's the first guy Mara's calling. And when the phone rings, Belichick ain't saying no. Northeast is home. And the football Giants are home for Belichick. And he'd love nothing more to break his win records. And I don't have a better guy on the market that would turn the Giants back into a football program headed north. There's no doubt in my mind, and the game did not pass him by. Old school football still wins, brothers. The Kansas City Chiefs are doing it right now, believe it or not. The Giants right now hold the #1 draft pick. Now, they may end up 2, 3. I don't see them below 3. And that is a very attractive pick. They have an extra 1 or 2 picks from a compensation. They also have a lot of money under the cap next year. The Giants are an attractive job for a big-time coach. I'm cutting the regime at the end of the year. You know what? Mara should get a head start on it right now. Right now's the bye week. Start making those quiet phone calls. Because this regime, to me, is done. And I've been big on giving them an opportunity to get their quarterback. And they might even end up doing that. But, it's just not looking real good right now. Dable looks kind of lost. Respect his 20 years in the league. Sometimes it doesn't work. And sometimes when I look at his face, it even looks like he may want out. Listen, man. Call Belichick. Call Vrabel. You got other guys. McCarthy's going to be free. I don't think he's for the Giants. Pete Carroll's interested in the GM job. Consider it. Interview him. Dude. Gruden's out there. I know a lot of people don't like him. Whatever his connection was 15 years ago with something. He's going to get back in the league. Actually, I think Gruden would be amazing for the Jets. But that's a different story. You also have the coordinator from the Lions for the Jets. His name slips my mind right now, the defensive coach. He's connected, he played for the Jets, right? Is it Glenn? Listen, man. Aaron, right? I wouldn't be surprised he ends up the Jets head coach next year. Another feisty guy that brings passion, and these New York teams need that. First pick in the draft. There's 4 real good quarterbacks. I think these quarterbacks might be better than last year's quarterbacks. Call me crazy. Last year's quarterbacks were overhyped by the media and the fans. And listen, every quarterback class is going to be overhyped from here on out, because that's how ESPN and all these channels are going to make their ratings. But you got Nuss. You got Dart, who I love, from Ole Miss. You got Ward. And I really like Milroe. And and there's a few others. But look, man, it all depends who's the coach and the type of system he's going to run. If Dable's here, I could see him going after a Ward or a Milroe. If Belichick's here, it's probably going to be Dart or Nuss. That's what it is, man. Whoever it is. And if it's Belichick, no matter what, it's a guarantee the Giants are going to get back to old school football. Pound the rock, special teams, field goal kickers are big. The emphasis on the little things, blocking, tackling. Your defense is going to be one of the top in the league, and we have the pieces on the D already. You got a coach who's going to coach. He's going to teach up the kids. He's going to turn these kids into fucking men. We have a young team. There's no reason to blow the roster up at all. You make some changes, you add, you make additions, you go get a new franchise quarterback. Daniel Jones was a good guy. He worked his ass off. He wasn't it. He ain't it. And now he looks like a destroyed, damaged quarterback. He's looking down the field and seeing darkness, and you can see it in his eyes. He won't let the ball go. Unless it's a 5 or a 10 turnaround. It's over. We know that. That's fine. I'm not going to stomp on Jones. I actually like Jones. It don't matter who was right. It don't matter who was wrong. It matters about how we move on from here and use this top pick in this draft. It's a type of pick that could turn the franchise around, and there are coaches out there that could take this franchise back up the mountain. Me personally, bring back the man who has the greatest resume in NFL history and strongly loves this franchise. And to me, it's a big deal when a guy desires and loves an organization, because he's going to come back and put his heart and soul into it. And that's Bill Belichick. And let him draft his franchise kid or do whatever he needs to do. There's young players on this team. There's talent. You got Thomas. You got Dexter. I still think Evan Neal could be saved maybe at guard. You got a young center. You got two edges. Dexter Lawrence, one of the best defenders in football. He's still bringing in every single play. And that's a whole nother thing. In the next 2 or 3 weeks, I think about making up an injury to Dexter's hamstring and put him on the bench. The season's over. Don't get your monster hurt. Go work out, rest, get ready for next year, brother. Be smart. You should have made a trade at the deadline. You should have traded Azeez if you're not going to bring him back. Or Slayton. You should have got yourself a 4 and a 6. Some more picks. But hey, Joe Schoen has proven that he doesn't know when to pull the trigger on trades sometimes. And he's allowed players to walk away. And I'll tell you what, man. And I was a guy that thought it'd be all right to move away from Barkley. And we're good. We got a young Tracy who's an animal of a running back. And about Tracy, I like that he was destroyed, that he fumbled that ball. It shows you how much he cares. But you know what? In 2 years or 3 years, players are going to be looking back and telling Tracy that fumble was the best thing that ever happened to this franchise. Barkley and McKinney are balling. They're destroying the league. Schoen let them walk away for fucking nothing, bro. And that can destroy his job. That alone. Because don't think Mara's alone. Tish is involved. Both families are going to be talking. All these things are going to come up. And you know Mara is very unhappy right now. And he didn't want to lose Barkley. And Schoen might have lost Mara right there. Along with this pathetic season. So, hey. What I say is this. Losing the rest of the way is winning. I said that last year during the Patriots game when I went off, that they squeezed that win out, that it would destroy us because Drake May was our guy. But hey, we're moving on. That's in the past. I've been banging the Belichick pot for like 3-4 years. And I think you're never going to get as close of an opportunity ever again than right now. Right here. Right now. This coming winter. Bring in the GOAT. I don't know if he wins you a Super Bowl, but I can guarantee you 1,000% he turns this football program around and the Giants climb the mountain back up to one of the better teams in the league. You'll win a division title again. You'll contend. He will set this team forward for the next decade. He'll give you 3 years and then pass it on to somebody who can take on the same exact philosophy and style. Hey, maybe Vrabel gets a job. Maybe he doesn't and he comes along with Belichick knowing that he's going to take over in 2 to 3 years. And boy, would that be heaven. Make it happen, Mara. Spend the money on the top guys. And give them the keys. So what I say is the Giants are an extremely attractive job. And I don't think they're that far off like people think. A change of a major head coach. Maybe a new GM who's aligned with them. And a top pick in the draft to go get your franchise quarterback. And before you know it, things turn around like it did for Washington and like it did for the Texans. Miz in the midday.